Okay, welcome back. And my guest is Sani Adenuga, presidential candidate of Boot Party in the 2023 election and technology IT expert who practices both in Nigeria and in the UK. And while we were away, John in Lagos, in fact, around the Agor Palace Way area, has called in. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning, sir. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
Yes, I just want to say...
John?
Yeah.
Carry on, please. We are live.
Yes, I am just want to say a very big congratulations to Mr. President for assuming office. You know, I am from Delta State, and I was born and bred in Lagos.
Okay.
So he is a man that I believe so much because I've lived all my life in Lagos State. I saw his work and all. One thing I just want to appeal to Mr. President, you know, he should be the father of all and carry everyone along, regardless of those that voted him and those that didn't voted for him and all that. And I also want to call on his attention, you know, to also plead and appeal to his conscience. I believe this government should be the government for all. And for me, as a person, I don't think the way to go is palliative, because we have seen that in previous, you know, like the past administration, and it didn't work for the Nigerian masses. So I think it will be better for him to pick up projects that will better the masses, most importantly, the poor masses. So for me, palliative is not the way to go. And I believe so much in him because I've lived all my life in Lagos. I see his work, and you know, I just think that this whole politics thing, we should bend down the tension. I am a Christian, but I can beat my chest and tell you that this is a man that I grew up to know that he's the father of all. You know, being a Muslim, Christian, one thing I'm sure of him is a man that carries everyone along, regardless of where you're from, you know, your faith, maybe your religion. He's a man that carries everyone along. So I just plead with every Nigerian that we should give him the time to work as our president. And, you know, and INEC should also sit right. I think everyone we knows that this man has done a lot, you know, in West, East, and South, every area of the country. They have affected life. I just think it's time for us to see it from the bigger picture as Nigerian.
All right,
to all work as Nigerian and make things work. So that's just my own contribution.
Thank you very much, John, calling in from Lagos. In fact, he was quite specific, Agor Palace Way in Lagos. Thank you for that call, John. And as you're also aware, Mr. President has already given assurances on all of those points that you raised regarding how he will indeed conduct himself as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But now to come back, as I said, let's look into the issue. First of all, somebody, it was Mr. George who brought up the matter, because we can do these small, you know, segues about, he said he notices that most people seem to be, if they're not exactly jubilant and dancing in the streets, on the streets for, you know, this, what is it called now? Removal of fuel subsidy. One paper I saw, you know, making the rounds, put the fuel price in Lagos at around 488 naira per liter. I don't know if that is official, but that's the kind of figures that we're dealing with. He said he notices, and I'll ask for your experience, that there seems to be a general acceptance that, look, it might be a bitter pill, but we've got to take this pill if we're going to make progress and move forward.
Yeah, I would say I think so. And what I've seen, the way I coined it, I call it fuel for thoughts.
Fuel for thoughts. Never mind food for thoughts.
No, yeah, because it seems everybody has come to that awareness that, look, we need to move on from this fuel. And when I released my own manifesto, one of the things I said was also that fuel subsidy needs to go, but it needs to be done gracefully. But however, President Bola Tinubu was clear in his presentations to Nigerians that, look, he's going to remove fuel subsidy. But it was not, he didn't tell us he won't do it from day one either. So if he's chosen to do it from day one, I think he probably knows better. And I need to make this clear to Nigerians that, look, fuel subsidy in the first instance is a political creation, and it can only have a political solution. Now, we have someone for the first time who is a very big, let's say big ogre when it comes to politics. So he's now in charge of our nation. So probably we can appeal to all. Let's give him that chance and see how the work around removal of subsidy is going to go. I usually think that if I hear correctly what most governments in the past have always said is about, they talk about subsidy transfer. That's the way I feel. And that's, I guess, what John was trying to allude to. That probably,
no, George.
I mean, George was trying to allude to that, look, there should be infrastructure being created. And
we should
things
see,
like, we should see tangible things.
Tangible things that are going.
And I think probably that's what's been said over years, that, look, we're going to make savings there and it's going to be transferred.
But we want to see
tangible.
Where those, what the savings, our savings working for us.
Yeah.
Because it's our money, it's our savings. Never mind that people have been managing it for us.
Yeah.
And so that was the point that George was making, that we need to be able to see. And these are things that the Tinubu administration are very much aware of, because I mean, you know, APC was not in, hasn't been in office forever, and in fact they have been, you know, they were opposition, so they know the lie of the ground, they know what needs to be done. And now that we have Tinubu as the president,
I'm going to say this to you. Some of the conversation I had with people over this, I don't know how people will receive it, but you know, when they were saying that, oh, the cabals were the one that doesn't allow the previous government to do it, and I said, look, maybe my view is this. Let's say if there were cabals, probably President Tinubu or Citizen Tinubu will have probably been one of the cabals. So for once, we now have a cabal. Let's agree as a president, and he has said he's going to do this. So we shouldn't have any problem to get it done. And that's, I mean, being sarcastic anyway. Yeah. So, but the point I'm making here is that the clear message has been made, and it just seems Nigerians are being thoughtful about the condition, the situation of this fuel subsidy. And someone talks about palliative, that it doesn't work in the past, but probably in the cities. But we have our communities all over the country where people are still very impoverished. People are still impoverished, and they really want some help in terms of being able to get around this problem of increment. Of course, it's going to affect people. Even no matter how rich you are, you're still going to feel like, oh, I used to buy this thing for 180 something, and suddenly it's become 500. It's just natural that we're going to feel that way. But there are those people who are going to feel it more. Of course. Farmers, they're going to feel it to be able to carry their produce from farms to the cities, to be able to sell, and there are a lot of people.
But the whole idea, the whole notion is that, look, all of those things are true, but if we can get over that hump and it becomes part of, because it's about right pricing, you know, fuel.
And I'm particularly happy considering that Dangote refinery is going to be functional soon, and that probably give me, I think many people, that's probably the joker that is making maybe people to feel like, okay, maybe we should accept it, knowing that we're going to produce more locally.
You know, when I said we're going to break, we'll come back and then we'll answer this particular question. You see people coming in, this is the nature of our program. Even Chidi has come in from Kafanchan. Chidi has, good morning, Chidi in Kafanchan.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you very much. Good morning to your guests also.
Good morning, Chidi.
Yes, my take, I really want to congratulate President Tinubu. I also want to congratulate Nigerians for the peaceful inauguration that we expected on that very day. Now, back to what you are discussing in the studios.
Okay.
Concerning the very few steps the president has so far taken, they are indeed taking the bulls by the horns. It will be my prayers and wish that the president will continue in this regard. Yes, Nigerians must feel the impact of the removal of the fuel subsidy. But Nigerians at the same time will be very happy if at the end of the day, the proceeds from these savings will be utilized in such a way that it will bring infrastructure and improve on our economy. That is one. Then the other time, I want to commend the inauguration of Dangote's refinery in Lekki, Lagos. So I equally want to implore the government under Tinubu now to make it a competitive venture so that whomsoever a Nigerian that has the capacity to float an indigenous refinery should go ahead and do that. I want to still believe that if the oil business will become competitive, it will go a long way in streamlining the price and the affordability of the product. Thank you very much, and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, and we say a big amen to that. Chidi in Kamfanchan, a regular caller. Now, to come back to technology, would you like to, I'd said let's come back before we continue. You remember where we left off?
Yes, talking about the impacts, especially the negative sides of artificial intelligence affecting our lives.
And how people can use it dubiously. I mean, when people didn't see any other road again to be dubious, they just carried the ballot box and began to run with it. As crude as that. So if AI is now here, can you blame people for being a bit apprehensive?
No, I won't blame people for totally being apprehensive. One of the suggestions we have put across, for instance, to INEC is that we still do not understand why our election has to be conducted in a day. Because, and I've probably said that probably INEC is using election apathy as a control. And how do I mean? If you look at it, that technology is there. You're using technology now, even if you are naive before as an institution, but you have now gone into it. It is easy to know that Sunday Adenuga has voted yesterday. He can't vote again today. Because the clear thing is that our environment as a nation in some states of the country, it's extremely difficult to be able to, for instance, take sensitive material from Port Harcourt to Ndoni, and you expect them to start voting by 8 o'clock. How are you going to do that? It's extremely tough in some areas of the country. Now, technology can be used to do this, and AI can also be deployed. Of course, we also need to say this. It is easier said than done. It is extremely expensive. Technology is something global, okay? It's not just Nigeria. So nobody cares in India if you outsource a service to them, or in America, that you are Nigerian, that you want to use the service. Well, if he's charging everybody all over the world $5,000, he's going to charge you $5,000. So it's not his headache. And I think he also made mention about local expertise. Yeah, there are local expertise here. There are young people who could train very well. But unfortunately, I'm going to criticize President Buhari's government in a way that you hear the Japa syndrome. And the way I look at it is this. As a leader, and I hope that's when we say renewed hope, Napoleon the Great described a leader as a dealer in hope. I don't think that happened in President Buhari's government for that number of years. That's why you see a lot of people, they just want to leave because they feel like it seems the situation is hopeless. And I've even posted at the time, I said, well, I hope in 4 years, the renewed hope will become an hope in sight for people so that people can come back home and feel relief.
Okay.
Now, INEC...
Okay, I beg your pardon, because I have Jubril. He's waiting in Sapele to join the program. Oh, Jubril. Apologies. I could hear when we lost that. Jubril had called in from Sapele, and the call just dropped as I was going to him. So sorry about that, Jubril.
So when you talk about artificial intelligence, the main point is this. There is that danger there. As good as technology, there was those rumors that were flying around then that, probably INEC had that they want to hack them. Well, someone doesn't have to sit deliberately to attempt to hack you. We monitor, both party monitors regularly. There are days we have persistent attack on our server. And these are also done by robots. They are not done.
Indeed.
Yes, they are not done.
The number of attacks reported by INEC, on its server and all of that.
It's not impossible because for us, there are days we have over 10,000 attempts. It's not like they were successful, but there are over days that we have over 10,000. So it's usually about traffics going all over the world. You can imagine INEC start uploading data. And there are traffic, so there could be some people out there. I'm not excusing that there are no people probably sat somewhere in Ukraine or Russia making an attempt to hack our server.
This is the nature of the world we find ourselves in.
That's just the way it is.
Let me not lose Mukhtar. Mukhtar has called in from Kano, I believe. Good morning, Mukhtar.
Yes. Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori. How are you doing?
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, I'm just trying to contribute my own quota towards the removal of fuel subsidy.
Oh, okay.
See,
Okay.
Yes, this fuel subsidy, you see, Mr. President should have studied this critical analysis on how much is being saved and how much will be gained. Because abrupt or taking a decision, hard decision like this, will jeopardize the life of the poor man. When you are buying a petrol of 550, everything, the prices of all commodities will be high. The value of the naira will be reduced. It will depreciate. And the prices will be high. The common man income has not been increased, especially the pensioners. So what do you expect? The level of education, the health sector, the roads, and everything. It is good if those money that are being saved could be utilized in that sector. But the monster corruption is there going around the politicians. They will not allow it to work. And the poor man's life will be jeopardized. So if care is not being taken, we may be facing economic dooms in Nigeria because the poor man will be suffering. The man in the rural area will definitely suffer because we have to consider so many factors before taking this decision. Are we really ready to do it as honest as possible? Are we really going to judiciously use the subsidy money to put it into the infrastructure facilities of Nigeria? Are we really ready to fight the corruption? Are the justice system ready to jail those corrupt people? All these considerations must be taken. Otherwise, it is going to be, another problem to the poor man. Who elected them into power? It's not the elite. It's not the elite that matters. But look at the downtrodden people. Look at the people on the street. Look at the people that don't own anything. And they have to go out daily looking for something. How can they afford their family? How can they afford the medication? How can they afford their education? How can they afford the security? We knew very well. If the money can be judicially utilized, it would have been better. But will it not? This is the question, Mr. Ulrich. You can answer me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for calling in, Mukhtar from Kano. These questions are there and they're going to be ongoing. In fact, he spoke about the devaluation of the naira, and those on social media, no, it's not even social media. One newspaper actually put it out that the naira has been devalued. This followed, there is a meeting between the governor of Central Bank, among others, with President Tinubu. And it was put out. Well, the CBN has been very quick to say that, quote, CBN has not devalued the naira. And it had very sharp words for the newspaper. And it said that in a statement signed by Issa Abdul-Mumin, Issa Abdul-Mumin, PhD, Acting Director of Corporate Communications, said that it was a falsehood, and for the avoidance of doubt, the exchange rate at the investors and exporters window traded this morning, June 1st, at 465 nairas to the dollar, and that this has been stable around has been the stable rate for a while. So this, no doubt, we have to be very careful of the internet. And but the points that were raised by Mukhtar in Kano, they're all very, very important questions, especially in the light of nowadays. Depends on where you are. 1,000 naira might not get you 2 liters of fuel. Well, in Lagos here, it'll just get you 2 liters of fuel at 488, if indeed that is the figure that it is going to be at. So there's so much, work that has to be done around the consequences of this, especially as Mukhtar was saying, not for the big men in society that have 11 cars parked, that maybe have a private airplane. Those are not the people, but the ordinary people. Those are the big
I think
people.
government needs to...
Yes. In closing, because
yeah, I don't want to speak for... I'm not participating in the government, at least let me put it that way. But the point here is this. What Mukhtar said is true. There are a lot of Nigerians who are really going to be very, very much affected. But that said, one thing also, I said before, some of the things I do hear when government say some of these things about subsidy. One thing I saw also sometimes here is that I think government seems to have lost control about how they can actually control subsidy itself. And that's why they feel like probably it should be taken off. But also, we need to know that there are a lot of people who are going to be seriously affected. Now, the question now is...
We don't have the time, but we've run out of time.
The question now is that there should be something needs to be done. I don't know how they're going to work out the palliative or whatever is going to be worked out, but I strongly think something needs to be done to help people.
And also, technology is a double-edged sword, but there's no way we can escape the use of technology. It can only get better as we go along.
Yeah, it can only get better, and we can make our society to be more better for it. We have a lot of younger population whose energy are not being tapped very well. These young people could be put into technology silos and develop our own even AI if possible. We can do that.
We're going to have to leave it there, but I want to thank you very much, Sani. Mr. Sani Adenuga, presidential candidate of Boot Party in the 2023 election and IT expert. He's been our guest on the program this morning. Okay, so that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.